I never thought I'd wake up in someone else's skin, staring at my own face in the mirror like it was a stranger's mask. But there I was, Isabella Hayes no more, trapped in the body of Elena Voss, the backup fiancé my asshole ex
Markus Hale.
kept on speed dial for when things got too real with me. And the real kicker?
It was all because of him.
That one night in his family's private clinic, when his twisted little experiment went wrong, swapping our souls like we were goddamn lab rats. I laughed when his buddies cracked their jokes about her, about me. Now, because they had no clue. I was the ghost in her machine. And payback?
Oh.
It was going to be biblical. It started 6 months ago, back when life in New York felt like a glossy Instagram filter over a dumpster fire. Marcus and I were the power couple everyone envied. Him, the silver-spooned biotech heir running Hale Innovations, turning gene-editing dreams into Wall Street gold. Me, the rising star prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office, nailing white-collar crooks before lunch. We met at a gala for the Met. Him in a tux that screamed old money. Me in a red dress that said, "Don't fuck with me." Sparks flew. Champagne flowed. And before I knew it, I was trading my one-bedroom in Chelsea for his penthouse overlooking Central Park. He proposed on a whim during a helicopter ride over the Hamptons, slipping a 5-carat rock on my finger like it was just another acquisition. But Marcus had secrets buried deeper than his family's offshore accounts. Turns out, while I was grinding 90-hour weeks building cases against guys like him, he was playing house with Elena Voss, a leggy blonde socialite from the Upper East Side, daughter of a shipping magnate who'd lost his fortune to one of Marcus's shady investments. Elena was his backup, as his frat boy buddies called her during their cigar and whiskey nights at the 21 Club. They'd joke about it right in front of me, half drunk on Macallan, slapping Marcus on the back. "Man, Izzy's great for the optics, smart, fierce, gets you out of those IRS audits with a wink. But Elena? She's the one who'd actually let you disappear to the Caymans without asking questions." I'd laugh it off, because what else could I do? Call it out and look like the jealous shrew? In New York, power couples don't air dirty laundry. They dry clean it. The betrayal hit like a freight train on a rainy Tuesday in July. I came home early from a deposition, my heels clicking on the marble foyer, only to find Marcus's office door cracked open. Inside, Elena was sprawled on his desk, papers scattered like confetti from a bad party, her laughter echoing off the bookshelves lined with first editions he never read. "Baby, once we tie up that loose end with Isabella's case files, we're golden," she purred, her fingers tracing the edge of a folder stamped, "Confidential, Hale Innovations." My case files. The ones I'd been building against Biogen Corp for insider trading, tips I'd whispered to Marcus over pillow talk, thinking he was just consulting on ethics. But there it was, my work, twisted into a weapon to bury the evidence, frame Biogen CEO as the fall guy, and let Hale Innovations swallow the company whole. I froze in the doorway, heart pounding like a war drum. Marcus spotted me first, his face draining of color faster than a stock crash.
Izzy.
"It's not." But Elena just smirked, sliding off the desk like she owned the place.
Oh.
"Honey, it's exactly what it looks like. Marcus and I go way back. You're just the beard for his boardroom buddies."
Beard. Me.
The woman who dropped everything to build a life with him. Turns out, while I was out slaying dragons in court, he was laundering my intel through Elena, who had her daddy's old Rolodex full of senators and lobbyists. The deep cut? They'd pinned a lesser scam on me, a forged email trail, making it look like I'd leaked case details to Biogen for a bribe. My career, my reputation, all teetering on the edge because I'd trusted the man I loved. That night, Marcus didn't even fight for me. He drove me to his family's clinic upstate, this sterile fortress disguised as a wellness retreat, all glass walls and whispering fountains. "It's for the best, Izzy," he said, his voice smooth as silk over razor wire. "Sign the NDA. Take the severance, 50 mil wired by morning, and we'll call it even." Elena's already moved in. Severance. Like I was an employee, he'd downsized. I signed, numb, my signature a shaky scrawl on the dotted line. But as the doctor, some quack in a white coat with a Harvard med school tattoo, jabbed a syringe into my arm, promising clarity through neural reset, I realized too late what it was: their experimental body swap tech. A black market prototype for executive empathy training. Marcus had greenlit it to rehabilitate whistleblowers, swapping minds so the elite could feel the fallout without the mess. The world dissolved into static, then reformed in a haze. I blinked, and suddenly I was staring at my own body, elegant,
Poised.
but with Elena's vacant blue eyes.
No.
I was in her body, soft curves and designer perfume that smelled like regret, while my real form slumped in the chair across from me, Marcus hovering like a vulture. "Welcome to your new life, Elena," he whispered to my old shell, planting a kiss on lips that used to be mine. Panic clawed at my throat, but when I screamed, it came out in her breathy drawl. They'd swapped us. Me into the backup bitch, her into the life I'd built. And the secret? Elena wasn't just a side piece. She was the architect. The one who'd dosed my wine at dinner parties to steal my passwords. Who'd whispered the frame job to Marcus while I slept. For weeks, I played the part.
Oled Pinelinais pied-à-terre on Fifth Avenue.
Scrolling through her vapid Insta feed of yacht weekends and Botox brunches. But inside, Isabella Hayes was sharpening her claws. I had access now to her contacts, her trust fund, her untraceable burner phones. Marcus thought he was clever, keeping me, Elena in my skin, on a short leash, trotting her out at galas like a trophy. His friends, that pack of hedge fund hyenas, guys like Trent with his coke-fueled rants and Blake with his daddy's senators, loved ribbing him about the upgrade. Dude, backup fiancés got that fire now. They'd slur over oysters at Le Bernardine, clinking glasses to the woman who used to be me. If only they knew the fire was mine, banked and ready to blaze. Revenge isn't a straight line. It's a New York subway ride, twisty, delayed, full of weirdos. My first move was subtle, dipping into Elena's Rolodex. I leaked a tip to an old colleague at the DA's office about Hale's neural reset trials. Of course, routed through a VPN in Elena's name. The feds bit, launching a quiet probe into human experimentation. Ironic, since Marcus had always preached innovation without borders.
But that was just foreplay.
The real heat built when I crashed one of their boys' nights at Marcus's Hamptons estate, showing up in Elena's slinkiest LBD. All long legs and megawatt smile. "Missed you, babe," I cooed, sliding onto his lap like I owned it, because for now, I did. His buddies howled. Trent, red-faced from Rose, slapped the table.
Hale.
"You sly dog. Backup fiancé's got game. What happened to the ballbuster, Izzy? You trade her in like a lease?" Blake chimed in, winking at me. "Yeah. Man. Elena, here's the upgrade. No more lectures on ethics, just vibes." Marcus chuckled, his arms snaking around my waist, but I felt the tension in his grip. He thought he had this locked down. Elena's mind wiped clean in my body, programmed to adore him. Little did he know, the swap wasn't perfect. I'd retained fragments, memories bleeding through like static on an old TV. Enough to know where the bodies were buried, figuratively and maybe literally. I laughed with them, that tinkling Elena laugh. But inside, I was cataloging. Trent's offshore slush fund, tied to Hale's stock dumps. Blake's affair with a junior analyst, ripe for Me Too blackmail. And Marcus?
Oh.
He was the crown jewel. As the night wore on, cigars lit and stakes rising in their poker game, I leaned in close, whispering to Marcus just loud enough for the table. Remember that night in the clinic, when the reset went sideways? His eyes widened, poker face cracking like cheap porcelain. The boys paused, cards frozen mid-deal. What reset? Bro? Trent asked, eyebrow arched. Just a joke, Marcus muttered, dealing faster. But I wasn't done. I accidentally knocked over his phone. Screen lighting up with a text from Izzy's ghost. Me? From a burner. Check the clinic logs. Neural swap trial 47. Your signature. He snatched it, face ashen, while I played innocent, batting lashes. Oopsie. Clumsy me. The seed was planted. By morning, whispers would spread, Hale's golden boy dipping into mad science. Wall Street hates uncertainty. As summer bled into fall, the tension coiled tighter than a Times Square crowd on New Year's. I dove deeper into Elena's world, her life a gilded cage of brunches at St. Ambrius and fittings at Bergdorf's. But I used it like a Trojan horse. Posing as her, I charmed my way into Marcus's board meetings, all wide-eyed nods while slipping USB drives loaded with doctored emails into their laptops. Proof of collusion. Insider tips funneled through me, the old me, to tank competitors. Controversial? Hell yes. I was gaslighting my own past self, framing Elena and Isabella for leaks that mirrored the ones she'd pinned on me. Ethically gray? In the revenge game, gray's the only color that doesn't bleed.
But the decision's not at me.
Late nights, staring at my reflection, Elena's reflection, I'd trace the unfamiliar lines of her face, wondering if this was justice or just madness. One call to my old mentor at the DA could have blown it open clean. But no, that'd free Elena. Let her slink back into my skin like nothing happened. Instead, I chose the slow burn. Anonymous posts on Glassdoor about Hale's mind games, fueling a class action suit from ex-employees. I even seduced Trent at a rooftop party in Soho, getting him drunk enough to record his confessions about Marcus's Cayman accounts. Destroying them all? It felt like cutting off my own limbs. Trent had been to our wedding shower. Blake had toasted our engagement. But betrayal doesn't discriminate. It metastasizes. The climax hit during Fashion Week, that glittering circus of egos in the meatpacking district. Marcus threw a bash at his loft, A-listers rubbing elbows with venture vultures. Elena in my body on his arm like a ventriloquist's dummy. I arrived fashionably late, Elena's red carpet gown hugging curves I'd never earned, turning heads as I air-kissed influencers. Darling, you look fierce, cooed a model I didn't recognize. Marcus spotted me across the room, his jaw tightening. Jealousy? Paranoia?
Good.
I cornered him by the bar, Prosecco in hand, the bass from the DJ booth thumping like a migraine. Having fun playing house with yourself? I murmured, close enough to smell his cologne, the same one that used to make me weak. He grabbed my arm, nails digging in. What the fuck are you on about?
Elena.
The swap held. You're you. I twisted free, smiling sweetly for the crowd. Am I? Or am I the ghost you couldn't bury? Check your servers. Marcus. Trial 47 logs, time-stamped with your biometrics. You signed off on soul-swapping your fiancé because she got too close to your dirty little empire. His face crumpled, the mask slipping. Around us, the party pulsed on Kanye-level beats. Champagne towers foaming over. But in our bubble, it was war. You can't prove shit, he hissed. The NDA. NDAs don't cover felonies like human experimentation. I leaned in, voice of Velvet Blade. Or embezzling from Biogen through your backup bitch here. I nodded toward Eleni, laughing vapidly with Blake. That's when I hit send on the burner, a data dump to the SEC, FBI, and every major outlet from the Times to TMZ. Emails,
Wire transfers.
clinic footage grainy but damning, showing the swap procedure. My screams echoing in Elena's voice. The room's energy shifted as phones buzzed. Guests glancing at screens. Murmurs rippling like a stone in the Hudson. Trent was first to bail, spilling his drink as he bolted for the exit. Blake followed, face buried in his phone. No doubt reading about his own skeletons I'd tossed in for good measure. Marcus lunged for me, but security, tipped off by my leak, swarmed, cuffing him amid flashes from paparazzi who'd materialized like roaches. Elena in my body shrieked, collapsing in a puddle of couture. My perfect makeup running like the facade it was. What have you done? Marcus roared as they dragged him away. I just laughed my laugh. Finally, raw and triumphant. What you taught me,
Babe.
Backup plans bite back. But revenge, like New York rain, leaves you soaked and shivering. The fallout was a media frenzy. Hail Air sci-fi scandal, soul swap or setup, splashed across Vanity Fair. While 60 Minutes dissected the ethics of mind-melding the 1%. I slipped Elena's body back into the clinic under a haze of lawyers and NDAs. Reversing the swap wasn't clean. It took black market neurodocs and a small fortune from her trust. When I woke in my own skin again, it felt off. Tighter, like a suit tailored wrong. The DA cleared me. Of course, heroes welcome. Promotions whispered, but the stares followed. Was I the victim or the villain who'd torched a man's empire to warm her hands? Marcus rotted in Rikers, awaiting trial on everything from fraud to assault, his buddies scattering like rats. Elena? She vanished to some villa in Capri, her mind fractured, babbling about stolen lives in therapy sessions that leaked to page 6. I got the penthouse in the settlement, the ring pawned for a down payment on a brownstone in Brooklyn. But peace? That's a myth for Hallmark cards. Here's the twist that keeps me up at 3 a.m., staring at the skyline like it's got answers. The logs I leaked? They weren't just Marcus's. Buried in the metadata was Elena's signature too. Turns out, she initiated the swap, not him. Convinced him it was insurance, a way to steal my life wholesale if the frame job stuck. He was the puppet, she the strings. My revenge? It gutted the wrong mastermind. Or did it? Elena's broken now, a shell in silk sheets, while I walk free, prosecutor by day, phantom by night. Justice or just another swap? You tell me. In the end, as the city hums below my window, I raise a glass to the backup I became. They joked about her, about me, until the punchline laughed last. And damn, it feels good to be the joke. The reversal hit harder than the swap itself. A slow drip poison that turned victory sour. 3 months post-climax. And New York's forgiving me with open arms. Brunches at Balthazar where power lesbians toast my comeback. Case assignments that scream fast track to partner. But every mirror's a reminder. Faint scars from Elena's fillers. A slight asymmetry in my smile that wasn't there before. The docs called it neural echo. Ghost pains from the mind meld. Like phantom limbs for the soul. I pop Ambien like candy. Chase it with green juice from Juice Press. But sleep's a luxury I traded for vengeance. It started small. Voicemails from unknown numbers. Breathy and distorted. You think you're free. Izzy? I see you. I delete them. Chalk it up to crank calls from Hale fanboys or Elena's enablers. But then the packages arrived, gift-wrapped with black ribbon. Delivered by courier to the DA's lobby. First one. A lock of blonde hair. Elena's shade. Tied with a note. Wear it well. Security shrugged. New York's full of weirdos. The second. A vial of clear liquid. Labeled Reset Serum. Trial 47. My stomach flipped. The same shit they jabbed me with. I had it tested. Inert saline. Mind games. Courtesy of whoever was pulling Elena's remnants. Marcus's trial was the circus I craved. Broadcast live from the federal courthouse in Foley Square. I testified in a tailored Armani suit, voice steady as I recounted the betrayal, the swap, the frame. Jurors leaned in, hanging on every word. America loves a wronged woman with a scalpel tongue. His defense painted him as duped, a visionary led astray by feminine wiles, but the evidence I'd seeded was ironclad. Server logs, witness statements from clinic staff I'd bribed with Elena's petty cash. When the guilty verdict dropped, 20 years minimum. No parole, he didn't look at me. Just stared at the table. Broken like a dropped iPhone. His buddies fared worse. Trent's fund imploded under SEC scrutiny, leaving him couch surfing in the village, peddling crypto scams on TikTok. Blake? His senator daddy disowned him after the affair tape surfaced. Me? Editing Elena's home movies into a highlight reel of HR nightmares. I watched from afar, nursing a Sazerac at the Nomad, feeling the high fade into hollow. These were men I'd toasted with, danced with at our engagement party. Ruining them felt like amputating friends to save a limb. Controversial? In therapy speak, it's lateral violence, punching down to feel tall. But in my world, survival's not a seminar, it's a street fight. The real gut punch came from an unexpected quarter, my own reflection in the mirror of public opinion. Op-eds in the Post called me vindictive Valkyrie, questioning if I'd gone vigilante. If the ends justified torching innocents. Hayes's revenge, justice or jealousy, blared the headline, complete with side-by-side photos, me pre-swap. Fierce and focused, Elena post. Vacant and villainized. Feminists rallied online, Isabella Strong. But the trolls? They eviscerated. She swapped bodies? Sounds like a bad acid trip. Or a setup to grift the system. Paranoia bloomed. Was the swap even real? Or had I gaslit myself into madness? That's when the dreams started, vivid. Looping nightmares where I was Elena again. Trapped in that clinic chair. Marcus's face morphing into mine. I'd wake gasping. Sheets twisted. Convinced I could feel her thoughts slithering in. You stole my life twice.
Bitch.
One dawn. Bleary-eyed over black coffee in my kitchen, I cracked. Dug into the clinic's dark web archives, hacked via a favor from a techie ex-intern, and there it was, the full 47 file. Not just signatures. Video. Grainy feed from the procedure room. Timestamped 2:17 a.m.
Me.
Strapped down. Fighting the sedative. Marcus. Hesitant. Glancing at Elena off camera. Her voice. Clear as a bell. Do it, darling. She's onto us. Swap her out, and I'll handle the rest from inside. My blood ran cold. Elena hadn't been the puppet. She'd been the puppeteer from jump. Convinced Marcus the swap was temporary. A neural vacation to throw off investigators. But she'd lied, rigged the reversal protocol to permanent. Planning to ditch her body like an old Birkin and live as me forever. Marcus? Complicit. Sure. But love-blind. Signing off because she swore it'd save us. The betrayal deepened. A chasm. Not just stolen intel, but stolen self. I'd borne the crime, the frame, the fallout for her master plan, while she played victim in my skin. Rage reignited. Hotter than before. But revenge round 2? It had to be surgical. No collateral. I flew to Capri on Elena's dime. Chartered jet. First class fight, posing as a journalist for a puff piece on exiled heiresses. Her villa clung to cliffs like a barnacle. Whitewashed walls hiding infinity pools and imported palms. She answered the door herself. Gaunt in a caftan. Eyes hollowed by whatever meds kept the echoes at bay. Isabella, she rasped. No surprise, just resignation. Come to gloat. We talked for hours. Prosecco turning to grappa as the sun dipped into the Tyrrhenian. She spilled it all, the jealousy that festered since Marcus chose me. The plot hatched over spa days in Aspen, framing me to discredit my biogen case. Then the swap to claim my life wholesale. You are perfect, she admitted. Tears carving tracks in her Botox. Smart. Untouchable. I wanted that armor. Controversial confession. Part of me pitted her, the hollow woman who'd traded soul for status. Only to lose both. But pity's a luxury. I recorded every word. Hidden mic in my bracelet. And walked away with the kill shot. Back in the States, I held the tape like Excalibur, debating the drop. Leak it. And Elena's done, extradition. Perjury charges. Her empire of lies crumbled. But the twist gnawed. If I buried Marcus deeper, proved he was duped, he'd appeal. Maybe shave years off his sentence. Free the pawn. Cage the queen? Or let the system grind them both? Collateral be damned? Nights blurred into what-ifs. My brownstone echoing with ghosts, Elena's laugh in the shower. Marcus's cologne on a forgotten tie. In the end, I chose the gray. Dropped the tape to a podcaster with a true crime fetish. Anonymized. Letting it ripple through Reddit and Rogan clips. Elena's arrested at dawn. Jet-lagged and screaming Italian curses. Headlines screaming backup bride's body swap bombshell. Marcus? His lawyers pounce. Painting him the ultimate mark, reduced sentence to 10. Out in 7 with good behavior. He writes from prison. I loved you.
Izzy.
Forgive? I burn it. But the ache lingers.
Now.
As winter grips the city. Icicles on fire escapes. Slush sucking at my boots, I prosecute from a corner office. Sharper than ever. The swap scarred me. Sure, trust's a casualty. Intimacy, a minefield. Dates fizzle over candlelight at Gramercy Tavern. My laugh too guarded. Stories edited to skip the sci-fi. But power? I've got it in spades. Hale's assets funding women's shelters. My name's synonymous with unbreakable. Yet the debate rages in my head. A courtroom of one. Was it justice? Flipping the script on monsters who flip mine? Or by karma? A cycle of swaps where no one's clean? Elena rots in a white-collar wing. Marcus plots comebacks from Gen Pop.
Me?
I'm the wild card. Body reclaimed, but soul forever borrowed. And if they joke about backups now, in their cells or society pages, I hope they choke on the punchline. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill in my bones. By April, the scandal had metastasized into a cultural moment. Netflix greenlighting Swapped Vows, a dramatized docuseries starring some ingenue as fictionalized Isabella. I turned down the consulting gig, no interest in seeing my trauma turned into binge fodder. Instead, I channeled the chaos into work, leading a task force on corporate malfeasance, irony's sharpest blade. Boardrooms quaked at my name, execs lawyering up before depositions. Power's addictive. A hit of dopamine with every signed plea deal. But it came laced with isolation. Friends from the old life ghosted. Whispers of unhinged, trailing like exhaust. New ones? Shallow. Drawn to the notoriety like moths to a penthouse flame. The echoes worsened. 2. Elena's voice in my head during arguments. Her cadence slipping into my closing statements. Make them beg. Darling. I'd pause mid-sentence. Jurors blinking. Chalk it up to a cough. Therapy helped marginally. Some Park Avenue shrink with a penchant for Jung. Prescribing shadow work to integrate the invader. Bullshit. Mostly. But it uncovered a truth. I'd always been the backup.
My mom.
A Jersey waitress who'd clawed her way to real estate agent, raised me on stories of second chances. You're the one who stays. Izzy, not the flash that fades. Marcus? Just the latest in a line of charmers who'd slotted me as reliable. Not radiant. That's when the real controversial decision loomed. Mercy or massacre. Elena's trial was set for June. Federal court in Brooklyn. Less glamour. More grit. As a key witness, I could have buried her, painting the swap as sadistic sorcery. But intel from a CI and her circle revealed the fracture. She'd been groomed.
2.
Daddy Voss, the shipping scion, had swapped her into modeling gigs and marriages of convenience from age 16, trading her autonomy for alliances. The serum? She'd stolen the formula from his Black Ops contacts, weaponizing it to break the cycle. Twisted logic. Sure, steal a better life instead of building one, but it humanized the monster. Forgive?
No.
But expose the root? That could topple empires beyond hail. I met her lawyer in a dim booth at the Dead Rabbit, Irish pub in the financial district where secrets drowned in Guinness. He was slick. Ex-SEC with a Brooklyn accent, sliding a folder across the scarred oak. She'll flip on the Voss network, trafficking routes masked as luxury cruises. Senators on retainers. In exchange, reduced to 5. Maybe probation. The ask, my testimony softened, framing her as coerced rather than criminal mastermind. Tempting, nail the patriarchs. The real puppeteers. But it meant perjuring nuance, letting her skate on the swap that stole myself. Sleep evaded me that week, pacing my brownstone to the rhythm of garbage trucks, weighing souls like bad poker. The climax unfolded in a sweltering courtroom, AC wheezing like an asthmatic. Elena took the stand, transformed, hair chopped to a pixie, no makeup masking the hollows. She recounted it all, Voss's lessons in survival, the swap as desperate bid for agency. I envied Isabella, she admitted, voice cracking. Not just her life, her fight. Jurors softened, a few dabbing eyes. My turn, under oath. Hand on the Bible I half believed. I could have eviscerated. Instead, I leaned into the gray. Elena's actions were monstrous. But monsters are made. The real crime? A system that swaps out women like spare parts. Gasps rippled. The judge banged her gavel. Controversial? The press ate it up. Hayes's mercy. Feminist flip or fool's gold. Verdict: 7 years. Voss empire raided by Dawn. Daddy dearest in cuffs at his yacht club. Empire crumbling like his Botox empire. Elena? Club fed in Florida. Rehab disguised as minimum security. Marcus caught wind from his cell. Sending another letter. You freed us both. Thank you. I shredded it. But the word stuck, had I? Or just prolonged the haunt? Summer sizzled into scandal's embers. I took a sabbatical. Road-tripping Route 66 in a rented Mustang convertible. Cheesy. Sure. But America's sprawl was the antidote to Manhattan's claustrophobia. Grand Canyon at sunset. Vegas neon blurring regrets. Taos Adobe whispering reinvention.
En route.
I hooked up with a barista in Flagstaff. All tattoos and easy grins, no strings. Just skin. It was release. Bodies sinking without souls colliding. But post-dawn. Tangled sheets. Her question, "What's your story?" froze me. Long one, I muttered, bolting before coffee brewed. Back east. The twist reversed again. Sharper than a switchblade. Anonymous email. Routed through Tor. Grainy photo of me in Elena's body. Time-stamped during the swap, but altered. My hand in her skin. Signing the NDA. Forged or real? A glitch in the reversal? Attached. Clinic notes claiming voluntary participation for personal growth. Panic surged. If leaked, my testimony crumbles. Perjury charges circling. Who? Marcus is doing? From prison hacks? Elena's parting gift? Or deeper, a Voss holdout gunning for round 3? I hired a fixer. Ex-FBI with a Rolodex dirtier than mine. Tracing it to a burner in Queens. Ray turned up nothing but ghosts. Empty apartment. Walls papered with our faces, me. Marcus. Elena, in collage of obsession. The culprit? A nobody. A clinic orderly fired post-scandal. Radicalized by conspiracy forums blaming elite mind control. He confessed in interrogation. You all deserve the swap. Feel what it's like to lose everything. Irony bit deep. My revenge had spawned its echo. A chain reaction of swapped fates. The decision? Destroy the evidence. Pay off the fixer. Let the orderly walk with a warning. No cops, too messy.
Too meta.
Controversial as hell, shielding a stalker to protect my fragile peace. But in the Game of Thrones we played, mercy's the ultimate power move, choosing who lives, who merely survives. Fall foliage painted the city in fire as I reclaimed my rhythm. Mornings at Barry's boot camp. Sweating out echoes. Evenings at Lincoln Center. Letting Bernstein drown the noise. A new case landed. Tech startup accused of AI deepfakes. Swapping faces in porn to ruin rivals.
Fitim, I consulted pro bono.
My story anonymized in briefs. Power. Reclaimed, but tentative, like driving with one hand on the wheel. The debate? It simmers. Forum threads and barstool philosophies. Was my path heroic? Dismantling dynasties with a scalpel? Or villainous? Decisions stacking like Jenga until the tower topples? Elena writes from prison, pen pal poetry about shared skins, and I reply, sporadic. A bridge over the chasm. Marcus? Paroled early for cooperation, slinks to Silicon Valley startups. Reformed poster boy. We cross paths at a tech ethics panel in Palo Alto. He nods. I ignore. But his eyes, haunted, like mine, whisper the truth. Swaps don't end. they evolve. As leaves crunch underfoot in Prospect Park, I run, breath fogging the crisp air. Body mine. Mind mosaic. Isabella. Elena. Echoes entwined. The backup wasn't the joke. It was the awakening. And if they laugh now, let them. I've got the last line. Etched in scars. What you swap away always comes collecting. Winter's grip loosened into tentative bloom, but the cold lingered in my veins like bad bourbon. By New Year's 2026, the swaps had woven into urban legend, cocktail chatter at the Polo Bar, where venture bros swap theories over sidecars. Nah. It was all PR, Hale's pivot to neurotourism. I let them spin. Truth's overrated when it's this jagged. My life, a curated calm, partner track locked, a rescue mutt named Swap, ironic. Yeah, for company. Hookups that stay horizontal. But the hollow? It yawns wider. Night scrolling X for Elena's prison art auctions or Marcus's TEDx clips on ethical innovation. Schadenfreude's a drug. But the crash is brutal. The final twist slithered in via a FedEx from a Cayman P.O. box. Thumb drive. No return address. I plugged it into my air-gapped laptop. Paranoia pays. In a panic room I'd installed post-orderly fiasco. Files cascaded. Unredacted 47 protocols. Emails between Voss and Hale seniors predating the scandal. The bomb? Proof the swap tech wasn't rogue. It was sanctioned. A DARPA black-budget spinoff for interrogation enhancement. Marcus's dad, the patriarch I'd buried in raids, had pitched it to Elena's old man over golf at Augusta. Swap the suspects' minds, let M rat from inside. My frame job? Collateral in a larger play. Test the tech on volunteers like me. Laundering war crimes through corporate R&D. Rage. Revisited. I'd borne not just a lover's betrayal, but a system sin. The crime, the insider trading, the human guinea pigging wasn't personal, it was prototype. Controversial calculus. Expose it. And I unravel everything. My testimony tainted. Deals reversed. Innocence, Trent, Blake, dragged back to the pyre. Or bury it deeper. Weaponized for the next fight? I chose the latter. Old habits die screaming. Fed the files to a whistleblower network. Anonymized drops to ProPublica and The Intercept. Headlines erupted. Mind wars. How America's elites swapped souls for secrets. Voss holdouts indicted. DARPA hearings in Congress, me testifying in shadows. Voice modulated. A ghost in the machine. But the personal toll? It cracked me open. During a rare vulnerable night, post-trial whiskey with my mentor at PJ. Clark's, she asked. Worth it,
Kid?
the swaps, the secrets, all for what? I stared into my scotch. Ice melting like resolve. For the fight. Can't let M win by default. She nodded. But her eyes said at what cost? Cost. Trust eviscerated. Body a map of echoes, migraines when stressed. Elena's laugh bubbling up in laughter yoga. Intimacy? A minefield. A promising architect ghosts after I dodge the X talk. Too intense, his text reads.
Fair.
Climax Redux. A clandestine meet in D.C. Hoover Building basement, feds offering immunity for full disclosure.
Igo. Solo.
Trench coat like a noir flick. The agent, grizzled with a southern drawl, slides photos, enhanced swap footage. My face, Elena's body, mid-procedure. Eyes wide with terror. You were ground zero.
Hayes.
Help us map the network, every elite who's dabbled. The ask, name names. From senators to CEOs. Swaps in black sites. Decision point, whistleblower sainthood, or self-preservation. I walk, leaving a burner with partials. Controversial? Heroism selective. Expose too much. Become the target. Let the system self-cannibalize. Spring unfurled, cherry blossoms mocking my thorns. I adopted a ritual. Weekly visits to a neural clinic in Boston. Not Hale's poison, but legit rehab, EMT sessions zapping echoes. Slowly erasing Elena's whisper. Progress? Incremental. Last week, I laughed genuine.
Gut deep.
At a comedy cellar in the East Village. The comic riffed on backups. Guys, your side chick's just the cloud save, rainy day you. Crowd roared. I smiled. No shadows. The ending? No tidy bow, life's not a pilot episode. Marcus resurfaces at a gala for neuroethics. Gray at the temples. Humbly hawking reparative tech. Our eyes lock across the ballroom. He approaches, glass trembling.
Izzy.
I've changed. The swaps, they broke me open. Confession spills, regret. Therapy, a foundation for victims. Part of me softens, redemption's arc bends toward mercy. We talk. Civil, like strangers at a funeral. Forgive, he asks. I pause. Cities hum filtering through French doors. Maybe. But forget? Never. Elena, paroled early for cooperation, vanishes to a commune in Vermont, crafting pottery. Unswapping her soul one will turn at a time. She sends a vase. Unglazed. Note tucked inside. We were both backups. Build better. I keep it on my mantle, cracked but standing. As summer simmers, I run the high line at dawn, skyline stretching like possibility. The debate endures, forums fracture on my choices, vigilante or visionary. The swaps taught me, revenge isn't closure, it's catalyst. Betrayal's deep, secrets darker, but from the ruins, reinvention.
I'm Isabella Hayes, prosecutor.
Phantom. Phoenix. No more backups, just the original. Scars and all. And if his friends joke now, in their diminished dens, let 'em. I've got the revelation. The real power's not in the swap, it's in choosing what sticks.